Okay, so I'll start with my presentation, and simultaneously I would definitely look up to maximum interaction, maximum participation happening from majority of you, or maybe from all of you. Um, first slide has a question there. Who is a teacher? And I have kept some options from my side, but you can even add more options to it, or you can even kind of. What scrutinize out of these four options which one works the best for a teacher. Is a teacher an instructor, a facilitator, an inspirer or a motivator, or entertainer? So who is a teacher? That's the question, and there are some options which have been already put up there. uh, I think we must have seen the the options. And okay, I'll come back to the mainstream. What happens is when I open my slides, I get disconnected from my participants. Okay, uh, Thulasimani ji. I think I'm correct pronouncing it correctly. In case my pronunciation goes wrong, please first forgive me, and then definitely you can correct me as well. So you write motivator, Prabhakar ji writes instructor, Jashandeep ji writes motivator or inspirer. Anybody else has a difference of opinion? Okay, Gagandeep ji says all of the above. Okay, Gagandeep ji, in my options that I had put up for a teacher, I had even mentioned a terminology entertainer. So, do you believe that a teacher needs to be an entertainer also?
No, madam.
No. Okay.
Because
Somewhat,
there
Uh,
somewhat,
for
somewhat.
entertainers there are somebody else available, madam. Why a teacher need to be an entertainer?
okay. 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 So that's definitely Mugundha ji. That comes from your end. You saying that yes, maybe somebody else can take up that role. Why does a teacher has to get into the role of a entertainer? But Gagandeep ji, you mentioned all of the above. Why? Why did you include entertainer in
But
your
anyway, madam, what is meant by entertainment for a student, madam?
pardon, sir? Yes. What is?
What is exactly meant entertainment for a
Huh.
student?
Huh. For a student.
Because entertainment can be different. So for a
Yes.
student, what is actually the entertainment?
Yes. We really need to introspect, and we really need to kind of understand that
It
why
must it
is
must
that.
be it must be the subject or subject only, right? Or something else.
Okay, great. I'm really glad that at least you've started thinking in that direction. And yes, there are those questions or queries propping up that what does this entertainer signify. So first, let's get to know it from Gagandeep ji, because Gagandeep ji mentioned all of the above. So Gagandeep ji, what do you think that yes, what does this entertainer aspect specify?
Uh,
Ji.
Sir, ma'am, in instructions, sometimes a learner becomes bored from theory and that.
Right.
In that sense, I have uh, selected entertainment.
Two. Two. Okay, great. So sometimes when the lecture gets too monotonous, or maybe it gets right, kind of, yes, it gets a dull experience. So to add little bit of that spark and energy, maybe we have to, include the entertainment aspect. And Jashandeep ji also has clearly, put up a no, a teacher does not need to be an entertainer. And Muguntha ji, you are definitely wondering that which aspect of entertainment we need to take up as a teacher, right? Very frankly, now something in correlation to what Gagandeep ji said, that yes, learning is as it is, it's a difficult process. I mean, let's not just consider our students, even ourselves, right? At any stage of life, right? Even when we are mature people, also, until unless we are really not self driven or self motivated, learning is always a challenging process. It takes in more effort, it takes in more of, that personal commitment. And now entertainment means where at least there are some lighter moments where you feel little more kind of emotionally connected to the subject, emotionally connected to the teacher, or the learning environment. That something drives you a little more, right? So now here entertainment can be in lieu of the subject also, or it can be something even in lieu of personally, as the student with whom you are conversing, or maybe the general classroom environment, or it can be an example from your own life, right? Now, just now, as I quoted that, learning is a difficult process. So even as teachers, as educators, we have our own, kind of set of worries, we have our own challenges, or maybe sometimes we've had our own failures also, right? Now, where yes, you add that spark to the class, or that, that excitement, telling your students that there have been episodes that where you've also failed, where you also not able to prove yourself, right? Or you also had those, challenging times where you were really, kind of trying to cope up with this difficult process of learning, but then somehow, how did you manage? So I think primarily the best way to entertain somebody is to talk about your own failures, your own weaknesses, which of course is a very, very big challenge, right? It's not easy. And I think when it comes to our students, we feel more of a kind of a, we have an inhibition about it, right? But let me tell you, there is this modern era concept which is known as edutainment. If any one of us have heard this, concept of, I hope I'm writing it correctly. Yes, edutainment. Anybody who's heard this terminology? And if we've heard, or if we've not even heard, then this terminology, edutainment, is a combination of two different, concepts, two different terminologies. So, what are those two different terminologies? As we read through, what do we feel? क्या लगता है हमें?
Obviously, that is education and entertainment.
Education and entertainment. Exactly. Thank you so much, Muguntha sir. Right. Now, this is what is the present day, specific approach, or maybe that creative approach to our classroom teaching, right? Learning has to be an enjoyable and a kind of a, um, an energetic experience. It cannot be a dull experience. So to add that energy, to add that, yes, more of that, excitement into a class, we have to do something where, yes, we are specifically not just, instructing, not just facilitating. In fact, when I say it's about, as teaching, we believe that yes, a teacher has to be a motivator, has to be an inspirer, right? Then entertainment happens to be one of the strongest source of motivation. Do we believe in it? Entertainment, where people have this freedom, this liberty to smile, laugh, or yes, at least, that where the interest levels are high, where yes, you feel ki, yes, this is my classroom, this is where I can speak up promptly, or I can ask questions without, yes, being judged, right? So does that drive people all the more? Does this that act as a motivating factor? Anybody else? So where I'm trying to say that entertainment actually, now entertainment, maybe it's a, misperceived concept. We think entertainment means cracking jokes, or maybe yes, doing funny things or crazy things. But entertainment even means where yes, you have this at least scope to smile, to at least feel, little less stressed out, right? And yes, there's more sense of belongingness, or that willingness to, yes, participate. So that's why we need entertainment. So now do we think entertainment actually acts as a very strong source of motivation, or we have a difference of opinion? Anybody? Or even if you have a difference of
No,
opinion,
madam.
please.
No, madam.
No, you don't believe in it, sir.
Yes, madam. I don't believe.
That's what you're trying to say, sir?
Yes.
Mukunda sir, you're trying to say your no means ki yes, entertainment does not motivate?
I think so. Yeah. There is no need for entertainment in the class, madam. For whatever the reason, only the subject should entertain.
Okay. Okay. But very frankly, any day, sir, even how much maybe the technical the subject may be, I think we cannot deny the fact that yes, we are dealing with humans who happen to be our students. Yes, Mukunda sir? Uh, I think he got disconnected, right? I'm really feeling good about it that we have a difference of opinion, because wherever there is difference of opinion, then only we have the scope of, yes, thinking more on a broader aspect. So, Gagandeep, sir, you've written there should not be fear in students to ask his teacher about his doubts. That is why an instructor should be friendly and entertaining also. Thank you so much, sir. So somewhere we, both kind of, yes, come on this common platform where, yes, we are thinking on that similar aspect. And Simani ji, you've written that entertainment is gamification. No, I mean, very frankly, okay, maybe I need to check out when you say gamification. Just a second. I mean, this, or maybe, yes, Tulasi Maniji, if you could elaborate what you actually, yes, try to, I mean, you are trying to, yes, justify when you say entertainment is only about gamification. Would you like to elaborate this aspect a little more? Activities. Okay. So can we have activities in terms of our main subject also? Is it possible, and that too in our formal classroom? Is it possible? To some extent. Okay, great. Yes, of course. I mean, we don't have to, kind of entirely change the, the complete scenario of a classroom, but then we have to add some more creative elements so that we are able to build up the interests of our students. And that's why I specifically added this entertainment aspect to, yes, the role of a teacher. Sunita ma'am also writes, entertainment should be included to give break between continuous lecture of some topic, and specifically when the topic happens to be too heavy or too technical, right? Because that's what I was trying to say. We have to, at the end of the day, we cannot deny the fact that the ones sitting in front of us, they happen to be more immature, right? Or they are the people who are as it is not interested in learning, right? To build up those interests, to at least create that willingness, or at least help them have a good rapport or an emotional connect with the teacher. Entertainment becomes a very important aspect of it. Let's move on now. Yes, do we now believe in another terminology or another aspect, that actually a teacher even happens to be a public performer? I might be sounding the most absurd or the weird person today, this morning that you met, right? But I add more weirdness to it. Now, beyond being an entertainer, I even extend my, this, what do you say, this concept of, the teacher in today's present era, where they are no less than a public performer, because maybe it sounds all the more crazy, right? Okay. In that case,
Madam, give you example.
yes, please.
Public performer, you give examples, madam.
I give example. Okay.
Yeah,
Very
because
few.
there's some disconnect in my internet. I know there is some 1 minute I missed it.
Right.
In case you already said, or if you have not said, tell me some
Uh-huh.
examples for public performer. Teacher as
Okay.
a public
Okay.
performer.
I will definitely do that, sir. I am here to, yes, definitely justify whatever, the concept, or yes. But then in general, when we, hear this terminology, a public performer, so what is our first perception, right? I mean, somebody who operates in the public, right? I think that's a scenario in our classroom also. I mean, public is anything. In fact, they say anything beyond 3 people becomes public, right? So now when we are operating in a classroom scenario where we have nearly, maybe 40, 50 or 60 students in front of us, so as it is, we are surrounded by a group of people, a mass of people. So that is where, yes, we are making a public presence, right? Now the other aspect is the performance, which means, yes, our deliverance, right? Our yes, how we are, putting across whatever knowledge and information, transmitting of knowledge, right? Simultaneously, we have to be somebody who's a facilitator, where we are clarifying the doubts, we are taking up questions, right? But the concern is that all the time we have to be in that alert, attentive, and more awakened mode. and simultaneously we have to create that kind of classroom environment also, right? Where anybody whom we look up to as a public performer, that individual has to be somebody who is able to, yes, grasp the attention of maximum people, right? I think that's what a teacher does every day. When you're standing there in a classroom and you are addressing a group of nearly 50, 60, or how many students, you somewhere are trying to put in that effort where you're trying to catch the attention of the, maybe if not 100% of them, but the maximum of them, right? And in that process you are, putting more efforts, or you are adding something which adds more value to your deliverance, to your speech, to your articulation, to your, you clarifying the thought process. So put all everything together is a kind of a public performance. So am I now making some sense to you, Mugantha sir? Yes, am I making a little bit of sense, or maybe yes, it still.
Sorry. I know. I just switched off my. Yes, madam. Yeah, continue,
Okay.
madam. Yeah.
Okay, I'll do so.
Uh,
I'll do
uh,
so. So, okay, let me share the slide also. I know there'll be doubts, and there'll be, because specifically we are not kind of used to such terminologies, right? Now, this is another, yes, a technical institution, one of the engineering institution, where I am, these students standing in front of me happen to be all engineering students, and definitely it's me there on the, right side of the extreme right corner of the classroom, so which is a part of some activity, classroom activity happening, right? Now, when, yes, I say as a teacher we happen to be a public performer, so first and foremost, yes, we are operating in a public space where so many things apart from our technical knowledge, technical information, our expertise over the subject, so many things become more, so many other aspects have to be added to it, so as to become a great influencer, or somebody who's able to, yes, transmit that same level of energy, that same level of information, so that there is more receptivity, there is more clarity, and then we are able to, yes, reach to the ultimate goal of, better understanding about the whole subject. So where use of body language, your verbal behavior, now this is something which we'll be talking in detail. Body language, verbal behavior, right? Which actually creates that environment, or creates that, total classroom space where there is better understanding and learning of the subject matter by the students. Now let me make this concept a little more clear. Specifically, as a teacher, when we are standing in front of our students in person, right? I mean, of course, now many classrooms are online or in the digital space, where things are different. Sometimes we've not even put on our videos, and sometimes, yes, we are not even seeing each other. But I'm specifically talking about those real classrooms where we are face to face, eye to eye with our students. There are certain aspects which become all the more crucial to our deliverance of our content, specifically since it's going to be a part of a spoken communication. So now this has been segregated into these three different aspects. Majority of the times we are primarily concerned about our verbal content. Verbal content means, what subject matter, yes, what are the concepts which have to be clarified, what are the questions which we need to answer back, right? How to be clarify the doubts, and how much of, yes, clarity we have with our every aspect that we are speaking about, or we are delivering or transmitting to our students. But now the concern is when you are standing in person and delivering your lecture, right, or facilitating a session, the verbal aspect happens to be only 7%. Rest 93% is all, which did not even need some, language support, which was unspoken, which was not delivered in through some formal language or some technical content. That is, 55% is your non-verbal, which primarily includes your body language, your expressions, gestures, right, your behavior, right, your conduct. Everything is part of that non-verbal aspect, or even your attire. right? Your attire, your physical appearance, right? Your expression, your kind of general, mood, or the emotion which you did not put it in words but could be kind of, grasped from your, again, expressions, your gestures. And this is where now the students know how much they can actually freely talk to you, they can open up to you, they can ask questions, or maybe they need to keep a distance. So this was all non-verbal. Now, what supports or what signifies the importance or the kind of, the seriousness of a certain topic? That's your paraverbal aspect, which is the tone, the volume, pitch, the pace at which the words are coming out of the mouth, right? I mean, in case if you're too fast with your content, then also you will not be able to create clarity. And similarly, if you're too slow in your speech, I am telling, are you listening? Now, when it's very slow, which is like less than, what has to be the normal pace, then also it gets very monotonous. It gets, where we tend to lose our focus or attention. So I would primarily be focusing on all these aspects during this session, but of course, it's a vast, content, vast topic, right? Which actually, needs a lot of in-depth understanding and more of that real application of it, where we get practiced every day so as to specifically enhance upon our paraverbal and non-verbal aspects. Because verbal, I know you're all subject specialists, you're all subject experts, right? So verbal happens to be primarily your technical content, your complete knowledge and information about that specific concept or the subject that you are taking up. But I think there is much more to add to it. In fact, now these non-verbal and paraverbal aspects only kind of, even given what an understanding about how much the teacher is strict, how much the teacher is, yes, maybe somebody who's a little more lenient, or somebody who will be more kind of, empathetic, or will be able to connect with the students more on a friendly note. So all these, when we say, teachers have to be what kind of a teacher you are, then primarily it is your non-verbal and paraverbal aspects which define it better. So anybody who could not understand this concept till now, where we have segregated or we've divided this spoken communication, or how we deliver our lectures, or how we kind of specifically communicate in a classroom, into three aspects of verbal, non-verbal, and paraverbal. So before I move on, anybody who feels ki yes, there was a gap in understanding, something was not clear, then I can definitely, sorry, Mugunta sir, again I'll come back to you only. Am I now making a little more sense, or am I able to gradually, yes, take you towards the main agenda, the main purpose?
Yes, madam. Continue, madam.
Okay, thank you
continue,
so
madam.
much. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. So
Continue,
please,
madam.
I
Yeah.
am still really, really open to all your doubts, all your queries, anything, anytime which is not clear or is not making sense to any one of you. You can please stop me then and there. So now let's go back to, of course, we understand, we realized, how crucial is the non-verbal and the paraverbal aspect of communication, which majority of the times, we never even realized it. Forget about practicing it, right? We never even realize that. In fact, I always say, when I use the statement, teacher as a public performer, when you're standing in class of 50 students, you are under that scan of actually 50 pairs of eyes. Yes. So in being in that scan of 50 pairs of eyes, do we think anything about us as an individual, as a teacher, goes unnoticed? कुछ भी ऐसा है जो आपको शायद रियलाइज भी नहीं हुआ, लेकिन आपके बारे में अननोटिस जा सकता है, स्पेसिफिकली ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ योर स्टूडेंट्स? Yes, is it possible कि maybe, yes, you what you kind of rushed out to the college, right? Because there was a lot of like other responsibilities, and in that process you forgot to uh, maybe what, tie your shoelaces properly, or maybe yes, button up your shirts properly, right? Something, anything which is the minutest about you, आपको लगता है that can go unnoticed when you are surrounded by those 50 pairs of eyes?
Madam, repeat again, madam.
I'm asking Mughanta sir ki, is it possible ki, anything which you were not prepared, right? While you were addressing a class, right? Anything, whether as I said, I gave a very, very menial example. You did not tie your shoes properly, or
Okay.
maybe
Okay.
yes, your watch was, you forgot to wear your watch, anything. And
Yeah.
when you're standing in front of those 50 students, that is 50
Okay.
pairs of eyes scanning you from
Yes.
top to bottom, is it
Yes.
anything possible which can go unnoticed about you?
No, madam, they will notice. Even
They
I
will notice.
encountered one. Yeah, I encountered one once.
Okay,
And
okay,
after the class, the student came to me and they
okay.
said about that. Yeah.
Okay, so yes,
Yeah.
so that's now a personal experience. So this is where I was trying to specifically emphasize that a teacher as a public performer, right? Now that public in front of you, which happens to be a group of students only, and when you are there to deliver your lecture, your session, everything to anything about you goes, comes into their notice. You might not be even, kind of, yes, you might be really, really concerned about your content, your topic, your agenda of the day, and they might be, all together, yes, into that different frame, that today sir doesn't seem to be in a good mood, right? That means, yes, maybe today I cannot ask my questions. Now this, again, this judgment that your student made about any one of you, that sir or ma'am doesn't seem to be in a good mood today, was based upon what did they such see in you? How did they get to know that yes, you are not in a good mood today, or you're, tensed about something? वो उनको कैसे पता चला? Yeah, how did they
Something
know?
different from usual.
Yes, yes, exactly. Wonderful. Yes, sir. Something different from usual,
Yeah.
right? You maybe on other days.
Usual. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Maybe on other days you smile more, sir. On other days you're more relaxed, right? On that specific day, maybe yes, you were, your body language was seeming to be more tensed, right? Or maybe yes, even if you were speaking something, but then that energy or that enthusiasm in your voice was missing, right? That's the paraverbal aspect. So
Yeah.
anything
Yes.
which was different from the usual, your students would definitely, they, because they meet you on a regular basis, right? And then we have to really, now again the concern is, how do we keep up that consistency? Because again, as teachers we are also humans, and then definitely those sitting in front of us, they are also humans. And with humans, there is one this prime concern, that they are the most what they're the most inconsistent people around, right? The inconsistent species around, because we have our different moods, we have different emotions, we have our different responsibilities. In process of that, yes, every day we cannot operate in a same mode, right? Of course we are not robots, we are not, people who don't feel, or who do not, get hurt, or who do not, kind of uh, have different experiences, right? So as humans, we also have our high and low days, and similar is with our students also. So now I think first and foremost, as a teacher, we have to be specifically more empowered within, where yes, no matter what problems, what worries are going at back of my mind, I cannot come and showcase it on my face during my class. I have to somewhere keep up that same momentum, that same energy, that same passion, that same commitment in my deliverance, right? Because I am not there in a classroom, I'm not just being responsible for myself, I'm being responsible for that rest bunch of 50 students sitting in front of me, 50, 60, 70, whatever is your class size. I think this much we agree, in a classroom situation as a teacher, I'm not just responsible for myself, I'm responsible for that rest of the group of students sitting in front of me. So if we are willing to take up that responsibility, next I'll now move on to the next slide. Are we taking that responsibility? Are we taking the responsibility of the highs and lows of our students also? They can also have good days and they can also have bad to very bad days.
I think actually we are not noticing at all about the students, about their, yeah.
Yes.
I think no, madam. We are
Okay.
not much giving importance to,
You're not giving importance to.
yeah, much importance
Right.
to. But actually, we have to look into that also.
Yes, yes, sir. In fact, very frankly, sir, specifically September happens to be, this self-care month, right? Of course,
Yeah.
which begins with each one of us as a teacher, as an
Mm.
individual, we have to be responsible for our own care, for our own, health aspects based upon our mental health, our emotional health, and physical, and then only we'll be able to, do justice to our jobs, our professions, or our other responsibilities. And similarly, September also happens to be anti-suicidal month, right?
Oh.
So do we think now these are some concerns in relevance to our students also, where they also, have bad days, they also have, like, situations where they are not able to cope up with their emotions, they also have mental health issues, right? Mental health issues means, yes, that you are worried about something, you're anxious about something, or maybe even anger issues, right? And in kind of, yes, everything coupled up together, there can be times, yes, where our student is going through so much of stress or so much of, some pressure that he or she is feeling, that they might at times even feel like, having those suicidal thoughts or those tendencies of, yes, leaving, kind of giving up on hope of life. Do we realize that this is so crucial, so important? If we are not, and then again, simultaneously, we have to be responsible for, beyond all those health issues, right, specifically those imbalances, we have to not only make them mentally healthy and emotionally strong, we have to somewhere now even create that willingness for their learning. Because this is also one another fact, when another, reality, that today the students are not much interested in learning. Is there a difference of, that approach that we witness nowadays more often, कि जो
Yes,
आज का,
madam. Because some of the students are forced to go to a course. There are, for example, if you go from 50 or 60 students, at
right,
least few of them will be forced to be in that particular course. For their parents' interest, they may
yes,
be joining in the course, and without
exactly,
any interest, they will be in the class and all. So
right,
certain
sir.
those kind of students also will be there. Out of
Right,
60, one or two will be like that.
true. So now do we realize, sir, that that student in front of us, right, you said out of 60, maybe 50 are, under that compulsion or that pressure, where they've been just forcefully sent to the class by their parents, or maybe, that
No,
peer
maybe
group.
one. I am telling one or two students. One or
Achha, one
two
or two.
students will
Okay,
be like that.
okay,
One or
okay.
two, not everyone. One
Oh,
or
okay,
two students will be there that they are forced by the parents to go to this kind of courses and all. I am
institution.
telling only one or two students will be there, surely.
True.
Not everyone. Yeah,
Not
yeah,
every. Okay. One or
yeah.
two who have been forced by the parents. Can there be some other pressures also, sir? Beyond parents' pressure? Can there be some other reasons which, as it is, does not create that willingness, or does not, there is a gap of, yes, interest by the student in the classroom, or they are too much worried, or they're too much under some sort of stress or turbulence? Can there be some other pressures also? It can be, it
Other
can,
pressure in the sense that, for example, it comes to me medium. For example, up to school level, they may be in local language, state language.
right,
Then
sir.
when they join in the college, the medium may be in English. So
Yes.
those students maybe if will be feeling some difference from others. So this is
Right.
another kind of problem.
Right.
Then again, co-education.
Good.
For example, some might have gone through co-education since the school days, but
Right,
some
sir.
might have gone only with say boys school or girls school only
Girls'
till
school,
school
right.
education. But in
True.
college education, they may be having both boys and girls. So those kind of students may feel it bit different. So there are many cases, madam.
Right.
Not only
Right.
parents compulsion case, but
True.
also this kind of medium
Exactly.
languages or boys or girls. This kind of these issues. But more you have to say, madam. I don't know.
Right.
There may be many more cases.
Right, exactly. Thank you so much, sir. But then you know, really added more light, the spark to, you know, maybe I was trying to kind of convey across that as it is, you know, our students also have so many pressures, which can be beyond family pressures, societal pressures, which are definitely due to, you know, all those different biases and prejudice existing in the society, and then things which are altogether different from them for them. Oh, thank you so much, Gagan sir. Financial pressures as well, right? Yes, sometimes, yes, you know, they're not able to kind of themselves, you know, cope up for their studies, or maybe, yes, you know, it's as it is difficult for the parents also to kind of you know, sponsor their education. So that also is a major pressure when you have, you know, made way for your higher studies, but then, you know, who would sponsor your education? And if you're not able to do well, then as it is, it becomes more of a stress. So now, with all those stresses, when our students come to a classroom, they, as it is, they're immature. This is something which we really need to now understand. You know, we on all this, you know, in this forum, that we people present, we happen to be more mature people who have experienced life better than, or maybe, you know, have kind of more kind of years of learning, and that, you know, those hardships that we faced, which have now made us more seasoned and more sensible in our approach, which we cannot expect from our students, right? That means beyond everything, now we need to create those interest levels, and we have to specifically see to it that somewhere we as teachers should be not enforcing our pressures onto them, right? Now there is another very important aspect in communication, right? And that is clarity in communication. There should not be any sort of prejudice, there should not be any sort of bias, there should not be any sort of, you know, gap in information. Same information, what I perceive, you know, what I understand, I should be able to transmit. Now, one thing I would even emphasize upon before I take on the next slide or take on the next concept is, we really need to understand that communication happening at any front, whether it is in a classroom, or whether it is, you know, any informal platform, or whether it is in our peer group with our management, we need to understand communication is always more essential for the one who is going to be the beneficiary or the receiver of it. Our communication is only that effective if we are able to make that similar impact what we had perceived on our receiver or beneficiary of the message, or of the content that we wish to deliver. I hope I could make sense. I'm trying to say that my effectiveness as a communicator, as a teacher, as a anybody in any space of life, it really matters if I'm able to deliver the same content, the same message, right, with that same clarity to my receiver. Then only I'm effective in my communication. I hope this makes sense. Any one of you who could not understand what I'm saying, जिन्हें नहीं समझ आया हो, एंड अगर आपको समझ आया है तो आप ये भी बता सकते हैं कि क्या समझ आया है. Muguntha sir, you want to say something?
Yes. No,
Yeah.
madam. Continue, madam. You are telling
Okay.
everything perfectly.
And I really wanted to know, Muguntha sir, when I switch to Hindi, of course, I'm using it very, you know, partial only. Are you
Yes,
able
yes,
to
yes.
connect
It's
with
okay.
that?
Yeah, it's
Hindi?
okay. It's okay. No problem, madam. No
Okay.
problem. Yeah.
Okay, great. So, yes, communication is always for the receiver. The effectiveness in communication. I might be somebody very knowledgeable, somebody very informed, but now I speak in a language which does not reach to my receivers, to my participants. Now, right now, what I checked up with Mugunta sir was that whenever I switch over to Hindi, right, am I able to make sense to him? Am I able to convey my message to him in a language in which maybe he's not comfortable? Right? So that feedback, right? If he's receiving it, that means yes, he's comfortable with Hindi also, right? Again, I write very good, right? I am a very good writer, and I have like very, valuable thoughts, but I write in Chinese. So does my communication make sense? My written communication makes any sense to, this Indian set of population that we come from, when we cannot read Chinese? Any one of you? Gagan sir? अगर मैं बहुत अच्छा लिखती हूँ, राइट, आई एम अ गुड राइटर, राइट, आई हैव वेरी वेरी वैल्यूएबल थॉट्स, लेकिन आई राइट इन चाइनीज, सो विल दैट create any impact over you as my reader?
No, or very little impact.
Very little. Very little भी तब अगर गगन सर आपको थोड़ा बहुत भी चाइनीज आता है,
या
Yes.
फिर मैं उसको ट्रांसलेट कर पाऊँ.
यहाँ पर उसको राइट. तो अब हमें ये
But
समझ
in another way, it will be, something like it will stimulate students. For example, in a class,
it will
if you are,
stimulate students. Okay.
yes, because you are going to a class, your normal mode of teaching is English or Hindi, but
Right.
all of a sudden you start writing in Chinese means they
Right.
will actually impress with you.
Okay.
So how all of a sudden you come with Chinese? So
Right.
it may impress them, so that
Right.
they can learn. They will think to learn some other languages. So
True.
like that, I think I will take this as that there's a positive thing only.
Okay.
If
Okay.
you are going to use a different language,
Right.
then I will take that as a positive one.
Great. I
Yeah.
really appreciate that positivity, sir. That where yes, even if you're doing something differently, then it has this possibility.
But for only certain. In case of this kind of class or communication like this,
Yes.
if you are using a different language for certain, yes, we will admire. So you
Yes.
know so many languages.
Right.
So that's
right.
actually knowledge only.
True.
Knowing so many language also a knowledge.
Right.
Some people say it's not a knowledge.
It is, sir.
Language
it is
is not
lot
a
of
knowledge, but actually it is a knowledge also. Yeah.
Exactly. In fact, your cognitive ability, your thinking ability really gets enhanced the more you have, kind of this scope of learning new languages.
Yes.
Right. So we have to, in fact, we should keep doing that throughout, our even every stage of life, that we should pick up a new language, maybe after, certain years, when we are practiced in that language, then we can get to learn another. But the only concern is that even if I am stimulating that curiosity by writing in a language which my students are not familiar in, I should be able to make them understand. Right? It is not that about my competency as being able to, know new languages. It is even my responsibility that I should be able to convey that message, that understanding, in whatever language I'm using. So we have to come at same level. My understanding, my knowledge, it has to be similarly transmitted to my group of students, my participants, or whosoever is listening to me or maybe reading my content. Going back to gaining that clarity in communication, there are these 7 C's to communication, right? Which, yes, we would be now taking up with a practical example. And in fact, I will expect that, we adding more to it with the, taking up each of the different aspect of this 7 C's to effective conversation. Now, first is clear. Right? Now, who has to be clear with the message or the goal of whatever needs to be communicated or conversed? The the one who is messenger, who's passing the information, or the one who is the receiver? Who has to have, that clarity or being clear in what is the real purpose or the goal of any message, any information that has to be passed on? With whose clarity we need to begin with? Who has to it be? The messenger or the receiver? Or maybe the sender or the receiver? आप कोई बात बताना चाहते हैं, आप कोई इंफॉर्मेशन पास ऑन करना चाहते हैं, तो उसमें the first and foremost, C to effective communication is being clear that what is the real objective, the real purpose of whatever I'm trying to convey. So yes, thank you so much. Yes, I would again. I think I go a little bit dwindling with my tongue only. So in pronouncing your name, right, or Thangamaniji, right? I think that's better, right? So yes, it has to be the messenger, right? Now today this session plan for all of us, right? So first and foremost, as the the facilitator, as the one who has to deliver the different content which has been planned for this session, I have to have a clarity for it. If I don't have a clarity about it, I will end up creating more confusion, more chaos for my receivers, that is all of you present on this forum, राइट अगर मेरे को ही जो मुझे एजेंडा जो कॉन्सेप्ट डिलीवर करना है उसकी क्लैरिटी नहीं है तो मैं कभी भी किसी और को कन्विंस नहीं कर सकती. आई कैन नॉट कन्विंस एनीबडी एल्स until unless I am clear about my content. And this same goes back in our classroom scenario also, right? That whatever concept, whatever subject matter that you as a teacher have to deliver, you have to have a complete clarity about it. Then only you will be able to convince or maybe create more information or understanding for your students. Okay, now let's take up a practical example, a real example of a situation where a message needs to be conveyed, right? A message about exams starting, right? So now the main objectives is that information has to be passed on about the start of the examination, right? Start of the finals, final examination. Yes, for at that which has to happen at the end of the semester, right? So I start with, so that's the real objective. Final exams have to will be starting. Yeah, okay. Final exams will be starting, right? So that's what I am clear about. Not starting, I think final exams will be held, right? Final exams will be held. So this is what the first objective, the goal that I think I'll make it more clear. Final exams have to be conducted. Sorry, I'll make it more clear. Final exams have to be conducted, right? So now that's the first objective. I have a clarity about it. But now, does this message cover the other C's to, make it more effective? So what are the other C's? Other C's are concise. Now, concise is I want to keep my message as short and as crisp so that, yes, in the, length of a big message, I should not kind of get deviated by the real objective. So, is my message clear and concise where I just write final exams have to be conducted? Yes, concise is sticking to the point, the main point. So, abhi tak whatever I've written, where I've written that final exams have to be conducted. So, is it clear and concise? Yes, any one of you? I would come back to the main screen. Final exams have to be conducted, and I have taken up till now only the two C's. I'm focusing on only the two C's. First is clear, right? Clear about the main objective, and the main objective is that final exams have to happen, right? And then concise is as short as it can be. So is my message short? I yes, please can I mean, if I get your participation, then only I'll be able to find my clarity that it is making
correct
sense.
only. Yeah.
It
Yes,
is.
yes,
It's
we are
correct.
getting only, madam.
And
Yeah,
then
continue, madam.
we are getting it. Okay. And then the third C is concrete. Third C is concrete. So do we understand what is concrete? Concrete is again that we are once again cross-checking that the real objective is not, kind of just because we wanted to be concise, keep it short. I hope we're not missing upon the real objective. So the real objective is final exams have to be conducted, right? And I keep it now, I mean, I'm trying to make it clear also. I'm trying to keep it concise, that is short also, but then still I'm, trying to revolve around the real objective. Next, C is coherent. Coherent. Have we heard about what is coherent? Anybody who has an idea what is coherent? Which we need to cover in our message also. Please,
Yes,
you
yes.
can take up number 5. Coherent is, does the message flow and can
Madam,
it
what
be?
about 4?
Yes.
Madam,
Fourth.
sorry. What
Yes, sir.
about fourth one?
I
First you
am
said
sorry, sir.
clear.
I'm first taking. Yes, yes. It's clear. It's concise. It's concrete also. And now I am first taking up coherent. Coherent is something where maybe I need to add something more to it to make it more correct.
Oh,
So
okay.
is this message of mine now, does when I read final exams have to be conducted, is it clear? I mean, sorry, it is clear, but is it correct? Is it giving the complete information? Or
Which
there
one,
is
madam?
something
Final exams, finals, repeat, madam.
now when I write final
Final
exams
exams?
have to be conducted, I've written there, it is in the chat box, sir. Final exams have to be conducted. So where I'm trying to emphasize upon my message being clear, concise, concrete, but somewhere maybe the correct message is missing because there is something which has to be coherent to it. Coherent is adding more to the message. So what do I need to add more to the message so as to make it complete? Final exams have to be conducted. Do I need to add something more to it to make it correct and complete? And that adding to it will be my coherency. Anybody, you can please, you can.
Actually, you have to say when and all. You have to say when and all.
When
it simply
and all.
says
Yes.
final exams will, yeah.
Right. Exactly. So when are the exams have to be conducted? The exams have to be conducted from maybe end of this month, right? From 25th of September, right? I'm just, imagining it. So now that becomes more complete information, right? Or maybe more correct information when it has to be conducted. Is it still complete? I need to add more to it?
What exam? What exam?
What exams, right? So final 4th semester final exams, right? Now I think I'll write it once again. 4th semester final exams have to be conducted from 25th September 24. Right, 4th semester final exams have to be conducted from 25th September, right? I think now this is clear, this is concise, it is still short.
Still missing.
Okay.
Where?
Okay, what is missing
or the
now,
venue?
sir?
Where are the venue?
Okay, where it will be conducted,
where
right?
Or the venue? Yeah.
Right, where will be the venue, isn't it, sir?
Yeah. I'm telling where are the venue.
Okay.
Anyway, we are telling the same only.
Yeah, they'll be conducted in the the college auditorium. No, not auditorium. Of course, they'll be conducted in where? Okay. Can you propose any place, any venue where the exams will be conducted? In the library?
Auditorium, auditorium also okay, madam. Some colleges conduct exam in auditorium, seminar hall.
So it will be conducted in the seminar hall, right?
Some colleges have separate exam hall, but it depends.
Right.
It depends.
Right. So yes, it will be, I cannot copy this. Okay, I'll write it again. 4th semester final, anything more? Okay, subject wise dates, right? So that will be more, of course, in depth. I think the prelim information where will be that 4th semester final exams have to be conducted from 25th September. Sorry.
I think will be. I think now it will become will be, madam. Instead of have to be, now it will become will be. Yeah, now it cannot be have to be.
Yes.
It has
now
to be
will be. Yes,
because you are adding more.
Will be. Right, exactly. Yes, now this is more short information, right? In the seminar
because now have to be will come. Have to be will come.
Yes. Yes. Oh, sorry, I have, there's a typical error from my end only, but then we have to read it as 4th semester final exams will be conducted from 25th September in the seminar hall. Now, I think almost all other C's, let's go back to our slide so that we are able to recollect with all these C's that we were reading through for making effective communication, right? We've focused on the clarity, keeping it concise, short and crisp, concrete, still fixing to the real goal, real objective, right? We added coherency to it. Coherency was where, yes, when will they be conducted, where will they be conducted, so that is coherency, adding more information so that it becomes correct and complete. But then this last c is being courteous. Is your message friendly, or maybe I would even say requesting, or maybe even convincing? Is your message convincing, encouraging, somewhere where yes, the students themselves feel ki now okay, they have to start preparing for their exams. So can anything more be added to our message to make it more courteous? Courteous means more convincing, right? So what can we add more to our message to make it more convincing, make it more courteous? Anyone? Fourth semester exams will be conducted from 25th September in the seminar hall. So can we add something more to it to make it more encouraging, more convincing, to be to in a more friendly way? Anybody wants to add when you're conveying this to your students? So would you like to add any more message to it? Any more information to it? No?
Anyway,
Can
madam,
I
you are making participant to think too much. I'm sorry. You are,
I think, sir, then only the real learning happens, when we are thinking
yes,
ourselves.
yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
Actually, the classes has to
Ye-
be interactive,
Yes,
so
yes.
that every student should be put under thinking only.
Two, exactly, sir. Right. Okay,
Yeah.
so
So I think you are following. Yeah.
thank you, sir. So Shekhar ji writes, Madam, time of exam and mode of transportation for the ease of arrival to college can be mentioned. Yes, exactly. So the, for yes, your early arrival, the the college will kind of, yes, facilitate with the transport facility. So that makes it, somewhere, yes, feel ki, okay, you're being taken care of, you are being, kind of facilitated, or you are given that added on responsibility, added on facility. Or we can even just simply write prepare well. Yeah, exams will be starting from 25th September in the seminar hall, so prepare well, right? So which is kind of a, yes, even kind of best wishes also. Similarly, yes, reminding them also what they need to do, and with a goodwill, right? So
I disagree with this.
okay, please, sir, बताइए. What would you like to add to it? Yeah. Yes.
I don't know, madam.
Okay, but why do you disagree with it? If you disagree with the prepare well aspect?
What I'm thinking is,
Yes.
uh, it should not be, for example, it should not be ordering type, and
Okay.
there should be no courteous also.
Okay.
This is my, yeah.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yes, you say courteous may be must needed, but according to my understanding, there no need to be any courteous and all. For example, with regard to this exam announcement and all. For
Okay.
exam announcement and all, why this courteous comes there, madam? For exam
Okay.
announcement,
Okay.
for
Okay.
for for something else, okay, there may be some courteous
Right. Right.
this nigger, but for exam announcement, why it
Right.
has to be
We
courteous?
would need, okay, okay. Why we need to be courteous? Okay, now that's the
Well,
question
yeah.
which comes from
Huh.
Mugunta, sir. Anybody
Huh.
else would like to answer? I mean, before, of course, I know what I have to say, but then anybody else would like to add to it, that why do we need to be courteous when we are giving information in relevance to exams, which is a part of responsibility for the students? So
Yes, yes.
anybody, of course, Shekharji, you mentioned that time of exam and mode of transportation for the ease of the arrival to college should be mentioned. So I think that thoughtfulness is there, right? So why do we need to, add these extra facilities, or make them believe that yes, uh, even if exams are there, there will be your college, management supporting you in every way. Okay, Prabhakarji says to express best wishes for students. Yes. And I think going back to even what Mugundha sir had mentioned before, that we somewhere realize that our students also have a lot of individual pressures. Examination as it is always adds to those pressures, right?
Yes.
So now
Yeah.
courteous here does not mean that yes we have to be actually being respectful, but we have to be friendly, we have to be a well wisher to our students, where we can extend our best wishes at the end of the um this information about the exams, so that, or maybe we can tell them, we can inform that yes that college will be providing the transport, so that they feel a little more at ease, that they are being taken care by the college management, or their teachers are actually concerned about their um, you know uh, their performance, or maybe yes they having that pressure of giving exams. So that emotional connect, in fact, I think any form of communication, whether it is between teacher student, whether it is between our peer group, or whether it is even in our personal association, there has to be a strong emotional connect, so that our same level of information is passed on to our receiver. Wherever there is this emotional disconnect, then only communication gap builds in, and then it leads to more of those misunderstandings and misperceptions. So courteous here means actually building on that emotional connect, so that yes students take it in a positive way, they feel more kind of yes you know uh, willing, or yes is inspired to take up their exams, which can come with best wishes, which can come with this assurance that yes college transport will be provided, or anything else. So Mukunda sir, now am I making a little more, or could I give clarity to what was your doubt, why we need to be
Uh,
courteous when we are passing on information for examination?
yes, madam. Continue, madam. Yeah.
Okay,
And
thank you.
one more point missing is
Yes,
about the
yes.
duration. Duration of the exam.
Examine, yes. I think now these
Duration.
details will keep getting added on as you change
Yeah.
that. Initially the statement was that exams have
Yeah.
to be
For
conducted.
for any for any
Yes,
any
yeah,
communication,
yes,
there
yes,
should be no anxiety among the students.
yes, exactly,
For
there
any
should be no
communication, there
anxiety.
should be
Yes,
anxiety among the students. Then
yes.
everything is conveyed.
Exactly. Very true. Very true. So that clarity, yes, where there every aspect, every kind of concern is already answered, right? And then simultaneously we have to maybe keep up that scope of clarification of doubts, that anybody has further doubts, they can reach up to this person. So of course that keeps getting extended. Our message keeps getting extended, but we need to know that what is our prime objective. Our prime objective is to convey that information about examinations, for which we have to give that clarity when, where, and in what medium the examinations will be conducted. Similarly, we even feel like extending our best wishes, so let's do that. Whatever we feel, whatever is our concern for our students, we should convey those concerns, I think, more openly, because that only gives that opportunity for us to connect better emotionally, and in that goodwill aspect, and then we are able to deliver our information, our knowledge more effectively. Going back to my slides now, I think now we are more clear with the 7 C's to communication, because we've had a good detailed what do you say uh, what is understanding, and a detailed practice session on it. Now how we teach makes a lot of difference. How we teach, not what we teach. Of course what we teach, you all are subject experts in it, right? But we need to realize that teaching and learning both have to be a very very exciting and a very enthusiastic experience, right? If it's a dull experience, now this is something which is normally has been proven, what happens in a normal classroom, that our students are in their highest level of alertness, or connection. Sorry, I'll open the slide. Connection with the teacher in the first 5 minutes of the start of the class, and in the last maybe yes again another 3 to 4 minutes. In between, there are chances, there are, yes, what do you say, there are possibilities that our students might get deviated, or they might lose interest from the main subject, or whatever discussion is happening in the class. They might even start feeling drowsy, they might start, feeling in not interested, or they absolutely might get deviated or disconnected with whatever is the discussion happening in the class. Because primarily in the first 10 minutes when a class starts, and in the last maybe 3 to 4 minutes, they are in that most attentive state, right, where they are maximum involved, or they are kind of trying to figure out that what is going to be the discussion, what is going to be the agenda of the class, in what mood is sir or madam today, what new ways are they going to try on in presenting the topic or the content. So this is what is happening in the first, those 10 minutes of a class starting. In between, gradually, yes, they start losing their interest, but then what happens in the last 3 to 4 minutes that they suddenly again get activated? Now that's my question. What happens in the last 3 to 4 minutes of a class in which our students once again are forced to get activated? First 10 minutes, we understand there is a lot of curiosity, there is a lot of, yes, kind of that inquisitiveness, what is going to happen, how is, like, will be taking up this discussion or whatever, are there going to be some activities, are there going to be some case studies, whatever, right? So that curiosity, and will I be able to participate, so my own queries being answered. So 10 minutes is, yes, all those inquisitive aspects being clarified. But then gradually, when I once lost my interest, or I got completely deviated or disconnected from what is happening in the class, what gets me again in that attentive mode in the last 3 to 4 minutes as a student? ऐसा क्या होता है लास्ट के 3-4 मिनट में? Yes, Mukunda sir, anything that you would like to add to it?
Madam, repeat last 2 minutes or 1 minute. 1 minute only you repeat it.
Only 1 minute?
You repeat it.
Okay, I repeat.
Whatever you said, whatever, yeah.
Whatever I'm saying, sir. So I'm saying that we understand that a student is more attentive in the first 10 minutes of the start
Yes,
of the
yes.
class. They're more connected.
Yeah.
But gradually, we have also practically witnessed that somewhere their, receptivity levels start going down, their attentiveness goes down, and they are not much connected. So we have to time and again keep emphasizing, please keep listening, please pay attention, right? And that's how we keep them connected. But in spite of all our efforts, they still somewhere tend to lose interest. But suddenly, something changes, that in the last 3 to 4 minutes, our students seem to be once again more alert, more attentive, and more activated. So, what happens in those last 3 to 4 minutes before the class gets over, where our students get more activated? Why?
Madam, sorry for this answer.
Yes.
But it may be due to the wrong reason.
Okay. So yeah. So what can be the wrong reasons? So that's what I would like to know. So in fact, these wrong reasons are only the more valid reasons.
Because the hour is going to come to an end.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That is the reason, sir. And this is proven. This is proven. This has been psychologically proven, right?
But
That
in rare cases, madam, students will feel bad when a staff is leaving. For example, I have maybe 1 hour. I may be taking complete 1 hour. I may be taking the class, but in some cases, I noticed students are missing my hour. Something, but not every time. Not every time.
That's
But sometimes I
wonderful,
have seen.
sir.
Yeah.
That's
Sometimes.
wonderful, sir. Right. Now
But
that is
usually what you said is true. Usually what you said is true, madam. But in rare cases, it may be different also. For example,
Yes.
my our hour may be better than the next staff hour. You see, there is another case comes there. If the
Right.
student thinks, okay, this
Right.
staff is better than the next hour staff, they may
True.
feel, okay, why
True.
not the same stuff continue?
Right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Right. So yes, definitely it varies, from the teacher to
Yeah,
teacher,
from the
right?
staff. Yeah,
And then
yeah,
it even varies from the student to student. Some
yeah,
students are,
exactly.
as
Yeah,
it is,
yeah,
they are
correct.
more, interested, they're more sincere, right, towards
Yeah,
their learning.
correct.
And some, those notorious ones, they would definitely, yes, be always in that laid back approach that I'm not listening, I'm not paying attention, and in the last 3 minutes, oh, okay, now the class is about to get over, right? And then automatically I get activated. But again, keeping that fact in mind, with which I started, we always need to remember that learning as it is, it's a very tedious process, right? And listening is all the more difficult. Okay, now this is something which is your own realization, because you've been listening to people, specifically even in these online sessions, you've been listening to different facilitators for now last 2.5 days, right? 2.5 working days, right, where you've been having sessions from morning till evening. This happens to be the second session of the day, and we must have now by this time realized it, that how difficult is listening to somebody. Yes, Mukunda sir?
Tell me, madam.
Is it
I'm thinking else, madam. I
okay? What are you thinking,
what
sir? Huh?
the thing is, I
Yes,
will
sir.
say at the end.
Okay. So
Whatever I said, you are proving it actually.
okay.
Whatever
Okay.
I said in for your last question, I said
Right.
something, and you are
Okay.
proving it, madam.
Right, sir. Okay. So I
You are
hope.
proving it.
Okay.
No,
Okay. Okay. So I
whatever I said, you are proving it. Can you answer me, madam?
whatever you
Whatever
said, I'm
I said,
proving it.
I said to your query,
Uh
and
huh.
you are proving it actually. So can you tell me what?
Okay. Just now, what you said, that sometimes, yes, we are, I mean, as students, they want that session to be extended, or sometimes they are more interested who will be the next facilitator, right?
No, no.
Something, uh-huh, in
Sometimes
relevance
the
to our
student
last
wants the
discussion.
same. Sometimes the student wants the same teacher to continue, and
Yes, yes.
you are proving it.
Okay. I think now I am able to understand what you're trying to say, sir. So I take it as a compliment, right? And okay, thank you so much. And now I'll one few things which I definitely wanted to share before we almost end up this session, right? Is that we have to definitely convert a dull learning experience into a more exciting, a more energetic, and a more inquisitive. Inquisitive is, I think, our students have to be inquisitive most of the time. Inquisitive means where they are, yes, into more of that asking questions, or they have that, doubt factor, right? Because that actually facilitates more of learning. If they're not doubtful, if they're not, I would even say confused, or if they're not curious, then as it is, there is hardly any learning happening. So those curiosity levels and inquisitive levels have to be really kept up, where we need to add more shape to our formal classroom teaching. Now this is something I'm saying, formal classroom teaching, adding more shape. More shape means, yes, which is an abbreviation, where S stands for stories, H for humor, A for activities, P for presentation, and E for examples. Now, putting this all together is where we are trying to ignite those interest levels of our students into the mainstream learning. Mainstream learning means all those technical and hardcore subjects also need to be backed up with this shape aspect, where it is some story component, some humor, some activity, some creative presentation, or some real life examples. Of course, for every class, every session, we cannot include all the aspects of shape, but we can definitely keep adding on something somewhere where it makes it a more interesting and an exciting learning experience. Now let me share an example with you all. You all happen to be technical teachers, right? So now this is an example which starts, okay, sorry, I'll come to this real situation, right? Now, this is about, a football scenario, a football player, right, whose name is David. Now, David is a exceptionally good football player, and because of which he's a major threat to the opposition team. So now the opposition team, to actually, yes, defend him, or to actually, let him not, kick those stronger goals, they play a trick onto David, which where they put a heavier ball. Now, a heavier ball, we understand that it is more difficult to kick and actually gain a goal out of it when your ball is heavier. But now, in response to this, David gets more smarter, or he takes on that as a challenge. And what he does is he applies extra power. He does extra power training so that he can hit the heavier ball 10 times harder. Now, which law of science am I applying here? Where David is offered a heavier ball, and now to actually kind of play with that heavier ball, David practices more of his power training so that he can hit this heavier ball 10 times harder to score his goals more effectively. My question is, which law of science am I applying here in the football field or in the game of David here? Which law of science, which theorem, which concept of science am I applying here? David, who's a football player, he's given a heavier ball. So now, to kick that heavier ball and to make it reach to the goal, he does that extra power training, and after he's done that training, he kicks it 10 times harder, with that more force, more pressure, so that, yes, I'm not playing the PPT right now, Aman ma'am, because I'm asking the question. When I actually put on the PPT, I'm not able to be face to face or see my audience. So that's why I put on the
Madam,
yes.
I assume your question has many answers, so that my answer will be relativity.
Relativity. Okay. So would you like to elaborate it or explain it a little more, sir? How have you used this? How this concept of relativity has been used in David's game?
So how to explain? I don't know, madam, but I think I assume
That's
this
your
as a
technical
relativity
part,
one.
sir. It's basically your technical part, sir. So is there any common connection between that heavy ball, or David kicking it stronger, or applying more force to it? How is relativity working out here? Yes, Mohammed ji, would you like to add more to it?
Everyone,
Yeah.
relative. Anyway, let's see other answers, madam.
Okay. Okay, let me, I think, but then we are somewhere connecting it to, some concept of, yes, what we said, relativity, which is one of our technical concept. Now, here, primarily, Newton's second law of motion has been applied in the practical field, where now we know that acceleration of an object as produced by a net force is directly proportional to the magnitude of the net force, right? So now, the acceleration means that on what pace, how fast is that ball moving, so that it can reach to the final destination, that is the goal, right? Where in that net, where if the ball reaches there, then only a goal happens. So that means it has to travel faster. But now this is directly proportional to the magnitude of the net force. That means how much force has been applied in the same direction. And it is inversely proportional to the mass of the object. Mass of the object, that is how heavy that object, which is the ball, right? So if the ball is heavier, that means more force has to be applied. More force means the magnitude of the force has been enhanced. And if the force has been enhanced, that means the acceleration of the object, that is our ball, will be moving faster. So there, here, if we see, it is the Newton's second law of motion, or maybe as Muguntha sir said, it is relativity which is being applied here. But then definitely this was all a creative plan, how we could create that real life scenario in our classroom, and we made it easier to understand something as technical as the Newton's second law of motion in an interesting and in a more exciting way. Now, this is something which is part of shape that we were talking about, right? Shape, which adds more, what do you say, interest, more curiosity, and more deeper understanding. Okay, now of course, I know you all happen to be technical teachers, but anyone, but again, apart from being technical teachers, we are humans also, and I think majority of us, we have this interest in music. Of course, our choice of music can be different, but then all of us, somewhere we feel a connect with music, right? Some of us might be interested in Sufi music, some might be interested in spiritual music, some might be interested in romantic music, right? Choice can be different, but then all of us, we have somewhere that connection with music. So any one of you who would like to communicate, who would like to express what is the importance of music in our lives, anybody, in your own language, this is nothing technical, this is just a personal choice, right? Anybody who could, yes, emphasize what is the importance of music in our lives, anything that you want to speak or you want to write in reference to music.
Music for relaxation. Yeah, relaxation. Music is for relaxation.
Yes, sir. Wonderful. Very nice. So you've experienced it yourself, sir, that relaxation with music?
Yes, madam.
Mukunda, sir?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like music.
Okay.
Yes, I like it a lot. I like.
Okay. So somewhere, wonderful. So somewhere music and its relaxing effect has been personally experienced by you. That's why you can speak up with so much of, yes, that assertiveness, and there is no doubt about it, right? So anybody else would like to add more about it? Anything, what music has an effect on you? Yes.
Ma'am, music can be related to motivation, devotion, sometimes
Right.
inspiration.
Inspiration. Wonderful. So music can be a motivation, it can be a inspiration, and it can add to the devotion also, right? Now this is something, Mantulal sir, personally experienced by you. Yes, you've also
ma'am.
felt that motivation and that inspiration with music.
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful, perfect. While for Muguntha sir, it was relaxation. Now, we need to understand that music, which of course again now happens to be a formal subject also, specifically with students who take up, these creative subjects, or maybe who are into arts and music into formal learning, right? As a knowledge, as a complete course that you've taken up, or maybe as a a specialization. But even beyond that, as people who are not technically qualified, based upon our experiences, we can talk in relevance to this subject. Now, this has to be our approach for every technical subject that we are teaching. We should be able to add more experience so that our students can talk with more of that confidence, can actually understand where can we apply this technical knowledge, that information that we're getting in a class. Then it actually becomes more effective in every way. Those 7 C's that we had taken up, then we don't need to think so much in depth about it, because when there is a clarity, when there is an emotional connect with the subject, right, then definitely we are able to create more deeper understanding about it. And lastly is, yes, we have to somewhere find the correlation between whatever subject, whatever technical information are we delivering, the sensitivity and the realization. the understanding and the clarity. Now this is the correlation that I'm talking about, right? Whatever is your subject matter, whatever content are you delivering, we have to, sensitivity even means its importance, its significance, its, the real value, the real application, which maybe as a teacher we are sensitive about, we have an understanding, but now we have to pass on that realization to our students also. We have an understanding about our concept, but now it is our responsibility to pass on that clarity to our students. The content that we have prepared, we have to somewhere measure the learning. We have to see the impact that, yes, is there some real learning happening about it or not? The participation. I've also really tried, right? I've also really tried creating that environment where, yes, most of you can participate, whether it was a spoken participation, right, unmuting yourself and directly sharing your opinions or your viewpoint, or what was it that you were writing your responses in the chat box. But then definitely there was more involvement, there was much more participation. The relevance, whatever examples, whatever practical activities, or whatever stories or humor. Now the entertainment aspect, from where I started, I'm almost ending up there only. Whatever entertainment or the humor that we wish to express, it has to be in relevance to our content, in relevance to the subject matter, right? And definitely in relevance to our students. So then only we become more creative in our ways, and then finally then we are able to create that environment, that that classroom situation where it's not that, yes, we as a teacher we are interested, but there is simultaneously, there is enjoyment, there is that excitement and enthusiasm, where we all combined, we all means as we as the teacher and as our students, we combine share this mutual responsibility for making it a great learning environment. So I'm almost done with my session, where, yes, we have to somewhere at the end of the day, we need to realize that teaching has to be a real, a learning process, where we also get to learn from our students, and we pass on that learning spark, where one idea sparks the another. It has to be a real, exciting process. If learning as it is, if it gets dull, or it becomes a monotonous experience, it becomes very, very difficult to kind of bear with it. So I hope I could make some sense, right, in this whole discussion, this whole conversation that we had. And I hope there is no misunderstanding or maybe some misperception about some concepts which were out of the box, like teacher as an entertainer, teacher as a public performer, right? And making teaching an exciting and an interesting interesting scenario for all of us. Yeah, I'm almost done. Any doubts, anything? I am really willing to take up. Of course, I've already availed the time also, but still, if there is anything which is not clear, I am really willing to take up your doubts.
Madam, just one comment. You
Yes,
proved the
please.
existence of edutainment.
Yes, Mukunda sir. Pardon.
You proved the existence of edutainment.
Thank you so much, sir. I am very, very honored, and I think yes. Now, yeah, yes, sir.
I will call, madam. I will call you. I think number is given. I will call.
Yes, for sure, sir, for sure. Would love
Thank
to,
you.
yes, contribute in whatever way I can. And of course, we need to remember that as it is learning, and then beyond that, listening is more of a difficult, responsibility, which we've been witnessing it, right, during our sessions. So I think now making it more entertaining, more interesting is our prime responsibility as teachers, to build up the interest and curiosity of our students.